Hey, today I'm talking about 3 completely random movies, and the names of those 3 movies are The Defiant Ones, Barking Dogs Never Bite, and Network. First up is The Defiant Ones. This is a 1958 Sidney Poitier film, and it's pretty dang great. It's a classic, and it's a classic for a reason. The basic premise is, in the 1950s, during a routine prison move, all the prisoners are chained in pairs, and there just happens to be a white man chained up with a black man. Ooh, scandalous. And immediately the white man hates the black man a lot because racism. But thankfully, the truck they're in crashes and they run away together. A lot of this movie is really just like these 2 guys just kind of at each other's throats, like knowing that like they have to work together even though they really don't want to work together, because like if they don't work together then they're dead or will get caught. And yeah, this movie's really good. There are some incredibly powerful performances, like really just kind of looking at this movie by scenes. They're just some really intense, amazing scenes and I'm just like, this is a moment. It's hard to not recognize the awesome performances of this film. And I will also say that they do tension really well. Like there's some really intense moments that happen. One where they attempt to break into a store, and one where they go floating down a river. And spoilers, the actors did most of that stunt themselves, which is just insane. If I was gonna complain about some stuff, I did get a little bored at times, but that could be more so just because I knew the plot going into it. Because a couple years ago, I watched the Welcome to the Basement episode that covered this movie, which was a really great episode. I love that show a lot. But I don't really think that took a lot away from the movie. And if I was gonna complain about anything else, I would say the singing. The singing's just not good. This isn't a musical. It's just like Sidney Poitier's character will occasionally sing just when the mood strikes him. And it's just, he's not a good singer, and the songs aren't good. I don't get the songs, but whatever. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I would recommend it. It's good and important. You definitely have to be in the right mood for this movie, but if assuming you are in the right movie, you're in for a good time. Next up is Barking Dogs Never Bite. This is a 2000 Korean movie, and it is interesting. So I went into it just knowing that it was good, and there obviously is a dog in it, and I was like, cool, I can't wait to spend almost 2 hours with some cute dogs. This will be fun. Okay, before I get to the dog stuff, I'll explain more of the premise. So it's a very quirky, like slice of life film about a handful of people in an apartment complex. There is this man who is trying to finagle his way into a promotion while also dealing with his very overbearing pregnant wife. But wouldn't you know it, there's a yapping dog in the apartment complex that just won't shut the hell up. So our protagonist takes matters into his own hands and it does something that I'm not a fan of. And I'll kind of spoil this movie a bit. A number of dogs in this movie die, and also a number of dogs in this movie get eaten by people. And like, these are definitely like people's pets. They weren't like stray dogs. I mean, that's one thing, but like, no, these were definitely people's pets. And like, I don't think these people were starving either. They weren't like desperate. They're just like, ooh, a dead dog, let's cook that. And I'm like, nope, I don't like this. I'm not a fan of this. So yeah, that was difficult to get through. I don't like what they did here. Putting that aside, this was still a good, enjoyable movie. I liked the other main character. She was just like a 20-something woman who just like, I think worked in the apartment complex. She didn't really want to work, but she did want to like help people occasionally. She just wanted to hang out with her friend, hang out in nature, and help people whenever she felt that she could. And she was fun to follow. The main man though, no. He goes through an arc, I'll spoil that, but man, he started off in an awful place. So I did put this movie in the liked category, but I don't know if I really recommend it. Maybe if you don't really like dogs? Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. And lastly is Network. This is a 1976 film starring Faye Dunaway. It also has Robert Duvall in it. And Aaron Sorkin described this as a movie that kind of predicted the future. So the basic premise is this beloved news host on a struggling network has a breakdown on the news one day because he's being let go. And in that breakdown, he basically starts an outrage cult, much akin to modern Republican opinion shows. And so it was really interesting to watch because you could definitely understand where these people were coming from. But at the same time, the behind the scenes people were all motivated by just like greed and profit and stuff. So they didn't truly care what the presenter said until it hit close to home. I don't know. I definitely recognize what this movie is, and it's really fascinating. But at the same time, I found it really boring. I don't know. I think it's just because of the world we live in today is like a worse version of what this movie predicted for the future. So it just didn't really grab my attention, even though Faye Dunaway is very beautiful in this. Also, I really hated the romance subplot. This movie absolutely did not need it, especially like you have your one woman character and she has to have a romantic interest. And why does it have to be a man who's twice her age? Also, I hate that they keep referring to men in their 60s as middle-aged. It's like, no, he died like 6 or 7 years after this movie came out. He was definitely not middle-aged. Don't say that. Like, do you think we're all gonna live to 120? Like, is that what you're saying? I don't know what that's about. It annoyed me. It was dumb. So yeah, so I did end up putting this movie in the liked. It did have good moments and I did enjoy it when I wasn't bored. I don't really recommend it though, unless like you're really into the news or fascinated by the news or you work in the news. Otherwise, yeah. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got the Defiant Ones, sitting at number 16 in the really like section. And then after that, we have Network, sitting at number 47 in the liked category. And then bringing up the rear is Barking Dogs Never Bite, sitting at number 51, also in the like section. I messed up my order because I didn't double check this, but I also don't care that bad, so whatever. And this is out of a total of 75 old movies so far this year.